Hey everybody, Bonehead for the Bonehead podcast, and we've got breaking news. A legend of the Blood Bowl pitch has returned. Games Workshop today have revealed their next star player, and it is Skitter Stab, the infamous Skaven assassin turned Blood Bowl star. As a Skaven player, I am well on board with this. So let's bounce over to the Warhammer community and see what's what. Okay, so over on Warcom, sneak, stab, and score with a newly returned Skaven star player. Click, click, click. Here we go. Right, let's zoom in a little bit so we can see things. Jim and Bob having a heart to heart as ever. The Skaven master assassin known as Skitter Stab is a real enigma. Outrageously popular among Blood Bowl fans for his bloody and frequent displays of knifemanship, but also almost completely missing from all official league records. If it weren't for his devoted following, officials would have a hard time proving he ever existed at all. And here we've got the model of Skitter Stab. Now, Skitter Stab is an assassin, which is basically a gutter runner with skills. And he was in the old edition of Blood Bowl as well. He was in the CRP, and I think he may have been in 2016 edition. So we'll have a look at the original rules in a minute, unless the article drops main rules. And we'll also have a good look at the model. Looks like an ogre gut plate on the ground there. It's quite cool. Oh, I like it. Unfortunately for other players, Skitter Stab is very real. This assassin has executed his employer's bidding for... This assassin has executed his employer's bidding for countless years despite no proven cases of his involvement. And whenever unfortunate accidents befall officials during a game with Skaven present, there's always a chance that Skitter is lurking around. This new miniature is an update on a classic star player from the early 2000s, depicted bouncing off a discarded ogre gutplate brandishing his twin knives. His cloak is stitched with tons of little blades billowing out into the wind as he launches himself at another poor victim. Alright, the article's doing a wonderful job of me describing this model for our audio listeners. Okay. Yes, it is a one leg on a gutplate. He's flying through the air. He's got two curved sickle blades. He's got kind of the gutter runner hood, a bit stitched up. He's got little blades on the end of his cloak. Kind of looks like I'm Rat Man. Kind of springs to mind on this one. Wonderful detail. I like this very much. This is interesting. The texture on his leg looks like it's painted on. I don't know really what that represents. Maybe it's just thin detail. Not really sure. Again, the basing they're doing for Blood Bowl at the moment is outrageously good. Okay, here we go. We've got some stuff here to talk about. Skitter's skills as a master assassin make him ideally suited to the high-speed, higher-violence game of Blood Bowl. Blockers bamboozled by his lightning-fast, movement 9, and Edge 2+. Unsurprisingly, he can stab his opponents mid-game, and when it comes to stabbing, nobody stabs like Stab can stab. How many stabs was Stab if Stab could stab stabs? The Master Assassin skill makes sure that roughed-up player stays down with a useful reroll for the injury dice. And with his speed, he'll be shanking his way through the opposing team before they know what's hit them. Okay, Master Assassin. So we're assuming this is his super feat. His super special rule, Master Assassin, once per game when Skitter successfully breaks an opposition player's armor as a result of the stab special action, he may choose to re-roll the injury roll. Stab is a tricky one. Stabbing is great. I mean, Blood Bowl is the only place you can really say that as a sentence and it be legitimately okay. Stabbing's great because you just get a free armor roll. The downside of stabbing is that statistically it's more likely to fail than it is to succeed, and you're more likely to be left standing next to somebody you've tried to stab. Now, in this meta, where there's lots of snotlings and underworld goblins and Skaven around, stab is pretty good. I played a tournament and I had my Snotling team up against Dark Elves. Dark Elves' roster was running 2 assassins, and he said everyone's running Underworld and Snotlings at the moment, so there's low armor, they're going to end up on the line. I can just free remove them with stab, so that's really effective. And the fact that this dude can fly around with movement 9 and Edge 2+, gutter runner speed, can potentially land you a good stab on a good target. Bear in mind that takes up your blitz action, so it's not the gimme that you would want it to be, but I mean, still potentially good. Right, Skitter Stab can be hired by any Underworld denizens or favoured of team for a reasonable sum of 150,000 gold pieces, giving him plenty of room to flit between teams as the inscrutable free agent he is. Wherever his master commands, he goes, and it's all but guaranteed that players will wind up with far less blood than they started with. I love the artwork here. Okay, so we have got a new star player playing for Underworld denizens. So for the league, right? The Underworld League. So, right, initial thoughts. Let's have a look at the model before we go into the rules. The model is very cool, okay? We've got him diving off an ogre gut plate that's stuck in the pitch. The paint job is superb. They have done a brilliant job of bringing up the quality that they're working on here. With, I guess, Forge World's kind of gone. It's the Specialist Design Studios now, or whatever. The work they're putting into the models is brilliant. The sculpting's fantastic. The paint job is wonderful. It's as good as anything in 40k, so absolutely superb there. All right, very cool model. He is a glorified gutter runner with knives. And from the looks of his stats, MA2 and Edge 2+, MA9 and Edge 2+, stats-wise, he is a gutter runner with knives. For 150k, you've got a journeyman gutter runner here that can play for all of the Underworld Denizens teams. It upsets me so much that he can't play for Black Orcs. This would be the missing piece. If he was available for Badlands, it would be wonderful. However, he's not, and it doesn't really matter. There's going to be some people out there going, oh, they've already got a Hack Phlegm. Why do they need a cheaper scoring threat? This may be really good for goblins. I realise I'm actually very low down on the camera. Let's fix that. There we go. This may be really good for goblins. Hack Phlegm 230, this guy 150, Edge 2+ is what you want, Movement 9 is what you want. Actually, that gives you a really cool option. So there is potential there that he will be really effective for teams like goblins. What he's going to do is fill in a really potent scoring threat at low cost for League. When it comes to tournaments, if this guy is not rated a Megastar, then this is fantastic. 150k for an extra gutter runner for your Underworld team. Skaven, probably not going to touch him unless it's a League game and you're a gutter runner down and you've got 150k. Wicked. Absolutely superb for that role. Like, that's great. I mean, 3 gutter runners is probably enough. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe you will. Maybe, I don't know. Goblins, yeah, love it. Snotlings, yeah. I mean, more money to spend on other stupid stuff. That's pretty cool. In the Underworld sphere, Skaven, like I said, not going to come up very often. Underworld will use him when they can't afford Hack Phlegm, if that's how they want to be, and they kind of want to be that way because that's how Underworld be being. Then, favoured of. This is phenomenal. So listen up, you tier 2 fans out there. Chaos, Undivided, and Nurgle struggle a bit. They're not fast, they're not agile, and even though they've got Hack Phlegm, the team is not cheap. 80k less. So if you're going to a tournament at 1150, you now take a million roster for Chaos, which is pretty decent, and then you add this guy to him. So you could be running basically the roster that you want to run, and also have a 12 player at speed 1 billion and Edge 2+. Now, we don't know what skills this guy is going to have, so let's take a second to grab the CRP rules. Even better than CRP rules, this guy was kicking around in 2016 edition. So, Skitter Stab in the old edition. Movement 9, Strength 2, as per Gutter Runner, makes sense. Edge 4, which in the new game is 2+, which makes sense and lines up. Armor value 7, which in the new game is armor value 8+, which is exactly what you'd expect for a Gutter Runner. Skills, Dodge, yes, he is a Gutter. Prehensile Tail, Shadowing and Stab with Loner. Loner makes sense. Shadowing and Stab and Prehensile Tail is going to make him a bit of a defensive nuisance as well. Shadowing with movement 9 and Prehensile Tail means if you tag a player with him, like I'm thinking Skink or another Gutter Runner, this is Ratricide you could go with, they're going to have to take the dodge away at -1 because of Prehensile Tail. Then he's going to get a Shadowing roll, which might be favourable, and then basically the idea is that he follows them around and then just gets a free stab, because instead of having to use the blitz stab, actually you can just, I'm going to mark Gutter. Alright, now you have to 3++ away, and if you do, I get a chance to follow you up, and if you make it and I'm still there, you have to do it again, and eventually you're going to fall over, or I'm just going to get a chance to stab you. So I really love that combo. He was 160 in the old edition, moved down to 150. 150 is wonderful. That is a bargain. I think this player could have been a little bit more expensive. He's not as good as Hack Phlegm, but 150 just feels absolutely wonderful. So this is going to be very interesting. I think a couple of things we've got to kind of talk through. He is armor 8+ and strength 2+. Strength 2, probably. Right, in the old edition, that's where he was. In this edition, that's where I imagine he's going to be as well. For 150k, he's not going to be strength 3, surely. Which means that he's 150k for a star player that is infinitely blow-upable. So a rogue blitzer with tackle is going to eat him, basically. Cheney's going to eat him. There's a lot of things out there. Or even the Animal Death Shroud is going to eat him. But he's going to give you another gutter runner. It's 150k for a gutter runner on a team that may not be able to take gutter runners. And that is just wonderful. And I think that has to be the final point. Wonderful model, exciting rules, is going to see play, which is brilliant. He is counterable. He's going to be annoying. And if you're running him in League, he's going to take up the SPP. We always talk about this. If you're playing against them, it's only going to add another dimension to a team that would potentially be running Hackflem. And with Hackflem being mega starred in every tournament ever and banned in others, Skitter might end up being the new bad guy. But if he's strength 2 and he's got gutter runner stats, do you know what? It's going to feel as fair as it ever does against a gutter runner. The fat favourite of teams can take him is wicked. If you are running a corn team, can you run that? I think you can. Make sure he's painted red. Anyway, hey, star player, it's a Skaven. It's obviously a thumbs up from me. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is he OP? Is this going to be the world-ending thing? Or is this just another cool star that they've resurrected? I mean, I'm biased. And I'm okay with it. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy dodging. No, happy stabbing. Stab, stab. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the channel even further, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Or come join us on YouTube members or in Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to some content, some loot, early access to basically everything we do, as well as regular competitions. Or you can pick up some Bonehead Podcast loot either on our website at boneheadpodcast.com. We've got the Dungeon Bowl things, we've got tokens and stuff like that, or on our Spreadshirt site as well. Everything you do just helps us make more content and hopefully do it of better quality. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Happy blocking.